This is genuinely fucking ridiculous. I don't know if any of you all play Destiny 2. If you do play Destiny 2, you know that a little while ago, Destiny, or Bungie rather, decided to just... They introduced this thing called the Content Vault, where they removed a bunch of content from the game, being the base game's story, the first expansion story, and the second expansion story. Those were both fairly small expansions, but they did still get removed. Basically, the first DLC, Curse of Osiris, was $17. Warmind launched for $20. Destiny 2 launched for $60 total. Overall, all of that together is almost $100. They removed Warmind, they removed Curse of Osiris, and they removed the base game's story mode, which we'll just say is worth $40 given their price point on later expansions. So all of that together would be $80 almost of content that they just removed and gave us nothing in return. Anyone who had previously purchased those just kind of has to deal with the fact that they're gone now. Bungie's excuse to this was, for at least a good couple months, I believe it was somewhere around 6 or 7 months, it was free to play. Destiny 2, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind all went free to play. Now, when Destiny 2 had that stuff removed, it didn't all of a sudden become not free to play. You can still play it, mainly the multiplayer mode. But aside from that, you can't really do very much of anything in the game without actually owning more expansions. So it's kind of like you basically get a nothing. You get an IOU in the place of the game. Destiny has said that they would bring back some stuff from the Content Vault, maybe, and it is very up in the air what will come back and what won't, and if we'll really get any of the content back from these things. Now, the common argument that I always see is, oh, well, you know, that content kind of sucked and nobody was playing it anyway. And to be fair, yes, that content did kind of suck. Though, that doesn't mean that not everyone liked it. That doesn't mean that it was a terrible move. Try to tell me another game that is live service where they have just blatantly removed old content. It's just gone now. It doesn't happen. Now, in terms of live service games, I always like going back to Final Fantasy XIV, since it's one of my favorites. And Final Fantasy XIV has continuously added content. If anything, the content has been a lot bigger than what Bungie's been adding with their recent content updates. They're adding a hell of a lot more, and they're doing it just fine. Not to mention, if Destiny 2's bloated file size is really the biggest deal in the world, then what needed to be done was it needed to be moved into an optional download in the way that Halo Master Chief Collection on PC has optional downloads for Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, 3 ODST, and 4. Where you can decide, oh, well, I want some of these installed, and I don't want other things of these installed, and I want the multiplayer on this installed, but not the single player, etc., etc. If they really wanted to handle it like that, they could have. But the fact is, they were lazy, they didn't want to handle that, and at the end of the day, they were just like, you know what, we're just going to remove this content. They were definitely hit with some remarks. I was one of them. It's hard to approve of the removal of $80 worth of content. Just blatantly. That I paid for, mind you, before it went free to play. But since it was free to play, they kind of got away with it, and, you know, whatever. They first released Forsaken, then they released Shadowkeep, then sometime after that they released Beyond Light, and Beyond Light is when we had the removal of that content. Now they're releasing The Witch Queen. Unfortunately, as they introduce The Witch Queen, they are also removing Forsaken. On February 22nd, Forsaken is going to be removed. It's blatantly not going to exist in the game anymore. Now, keep in mind, there is absolutely nothing that says this on the Steam page for Forsaken. You can still buy it completely fine. Nothing on here is even mentioning, even to a slight extent, that Forsaken could possibly be gone soon. You can't do anything about it. It's just going to be gone, just like that. And Forsaken launched for $40. I purchased it for $40 back when it came out. Now, I also own it on Steam. When it came out on Steam, it was $25. So, Forsaken, as a whole, I have already spent $65 on. They didn't deserve that amount of money, but I was enjoying the game enough that I paid it to them. I already feel ripped off having purchased Forsaken at all. Forsaken was a decent expansion. It wasn't bad, but I can't help but feel like I have wasted another $60 on top of that. Let's say you only played it on console, you purchased everything as they were coming out, like I did. It would mean that currently you would have paid at least $180, or considering you had all of the expansions, that would be $220. And now, just for the fuck of it, they're removing $120 of that. That is more than half of what you paid for all of these individual expansions as they came out. What the fuck? How is this even slightly okay? I don't understand. Other complaints that are other defenses that I see are just like, it's just a live service game, and you know, we just have to deal with that. And like, there's some people that are genuinely fucking brainwashed from what Destiny has been selling them, and like listening to Bungie, who genuinely believe that this extra content being in the game is doing more harm than good. What? What harm is it doing? Literally the only harm it's doing is the file size. That's it. The only other complaint that Bungie has even had with it, the only other reason that they've even had to start all of this, is literally just the file size and the fact that there are some people who play their old content and their player base is spread too thin. Their thought process of fixing that issue is not to make the new stuff just better, because it's not too hard to do given how their old stuff is. It's not really all that great. Just make your new stuff better and people flock to the shit that's good. Instead, their idea is, let's just blatantly cut all of that stuff out. Now, Destiny 1, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the servers are down, and that happens. The benefit of having a game like Destiny 2 on PC is that you can still play even when those servers go down, because someone's gonna make some sort of tool or a mod or something that will allow you to either play it offline or play on private servers. Destiny 2 has shat in the face of that idea by blatantly removing content from the files. It's gone now. You cannot access it. You cannot download a mod to play on a private server. It is just blatantly gone. Bungie does not care about its players, and Bungie does not care about your money or your time. There are people... I've put a decent amount of time into this game, but there are definitely people who have put a hell of a lot more time in than I have. There are some people who aren't really super avid gamers, just wanted to kind of play it, and last week just purchased all of the expansions all at once because one of their friends told them that it would be good. And now they have to rush through Forsaken, even if, you know, they would only normally play this content like once a week or something. Maybe they wouldn't play it that often, but they still wanted to experience it. Now they can't. They paid for it, and they got blindsided by a shitty company. With the first expansions being taken, alright, you know what? That's pretty fucking bad, and I was not willing to really forgive them for it. But the only excuse that they had up their sleeves that made it even slightly, like... The only way they could weasel their way out of it was, oh, well, that content was free, so it didn't matter. It wasn't always free, which makes it pretty stupid. But yeah, it was free, whatever, I get it. Sorry, I don't get it, but it is much less atrocious. It is a lot less atrocious than what they are currently doing. This new expansion It doesn't advertise this anywhere, but Forsaken is going away. And the only way that you would know that is if you actually keep up with Destiny, or if you happen to look at Twitter while it's trending. So a lot of people aren't going to know. And a lot of people are going to sit down and be like, alright, I want to buy Forsaken. And they'll sit down, buy Forsaken, and literally in a couple of months, it'll all be garbage content. It'll all be gone. In a couple of months, all of that content that they would go out of their way to pay for is just gone. And there's absolutely nothing telling you that. You can go to their page and you can buy Forsaken right now for $25. It is literally throwing money away. I genuinely don't understand it. There are so many other ways that they could have gone about this. It doesn't really feel like they care too much about the file size. It feels like they did this just because they didn't want players playing their old content and they wanted them to move to the new stuff. Players were playing your old content and you took it away from them. Bungie is literally, and I've said this before and I've seen it said online as well, but Bungie is genuinely not even Bungie anymore. Bungie is Bungie only in name. Bungie has genuinely managed to outdo their parent company of Activision. Bungie has managed to be more shitty than Activision. Bungie has genuinely, with this, managed to be more shitty than EA, and people are still willing to sit down and forgive them and defend them over it. I don't care who you are, that is a complete and utter slap to the face. I don't even feel like the people defending it wholeheartedly believe what they're saying. Genuinely insane. How does a company do that? I'm just hoping that people who have been defending Beyond Light and defending the removal of all of that content can sit down and look at the Witch Queen and take a step back and be like, is this okay? Because they're going to keep doing it. There's no way they stop here. If they're taking out Forsaken, how long is it before Shadowkeep is gone? How long before Beyond Light is gone? How long before the Witch Queen is gone? They're going to remove all of the content. They are adding in content just to remove it. I don't only feel bad for everyone who has spent their money on this game and is getting fucked over. I also feel bad for the developers of the game who made all of this content and have to watch as their hard work that they spent years on is just being deleted. And not for any good reason either. Literally just because Bungie thinks that it would be a better use of their time than actually setting up a selective download system. Anyways, I don't really have much else to say. That's all. And I'll see you guys in hell.